Like it.
Yeah. I Good morning. This is a Playground Principles podcast, and I'm sitting here. A great honor, actually, to be sitting here with Bobby Clampett. Um, the Playground Principles for me is all about connection, and um, I think it's something that we've lost. And not to sound like an old man, Bob and I have talked about this, and I am old, but
Yeah, you are old, Barry.
I
Yeah.
am, but
So am I.
I'm older, but it goes beyond that, and I mean, I could start in so many different places. Bob and I just met. Is it? I don't know that it's a week ago,
Yeah, about a week
whatever.
ago.
But and now he's kind enough to spend. And I wrote to him last night. I don't know if you got my note, but it's an honor. Time is a valuable commodity, as old guys like you and I know. So the fact that you're offering some of your time here to do this is amazing. The Playground Principles is a book I wrote to kind of revisit some of what I think is a lost ethos. But this interview alone is that. In fact, Bob didn't know I'm about to say this, but one of the Playground Principles is everybody had a nickname in the playground. And it was
Mm.
kind of like a moniker. So my new nickname for Bob is Boiled Ham, and we can
Yeah,
we
because
we
I'm
can
always
talk.
ready to go. Yeah,
Always
there
ready to
you go.
go, and
Yeah,
that's a little trash talk, and we don't even know each
yeah.
other that well. But look, I think I talk a lot about play. Everybody thinks playground just basketball, but it's a euphemism for so many things. Bob's playground was golf course, and I think the lessons that he has gotten and learned and so forth. So I'm just going to let you roll, Boiled Ham, and talk to me about the playground as a meritocracy, the golf course as a meritocracy, and what your playground principles were as it relate to golf, and just take me on a journey. And I'm going to do something that I don't do always well, but shut up. Go ahead, Bob.
Wow. Well, I feel like a mosquito in a nudist colony, Barry. I don't know where to begin.
Sure. I mean, start anywhere you want. Started Pebble Beach. Started being a junior. Start when you first learned to hold it. I don't really care, mosquito.
Well, I fell in love with a game of golf when I was 6 years old. We were social members of the Olympic Club in San Francisco.
Sure.
And we took a family walk on the lake course at Olympic Club. I had never seen golf. Started watching these golf balls being shot up into the air amongst these beautiful pines and cypress trees of the Olympic Club.
No doubt.
And I thought it was another rendition of Golden Gate Park, which was my favorite park as a child. So at that time, I began bugging my mom, I want to learn to play golf. And she's like, sure, one more thing. And 4 years later, we moved down to Monterey, or excuse me, no, a year later, we moved to Monterey. And my next door neighbor across the street, Stephen Bittner, he was playing golf. He was my age and he would play golf with his dad. And so we'd get his dad's clubs out and we'd start hitting it across the street. And suddenly I connected with a putter and it missed his kitchen window by about an inch. And his mother came running out of the kitchen. What are you boys doing? And that was kind of I just want to learn to play golf. And so about 3 years after that, my stepdad and mom divorced, unfortunately, but we moved out to Quail Lodge in Carmel, California,
Beautiful.
where my mom knew the owner and founder of Quail Lodge, Ed Haber, who proudly gave me a little job because we couldn't afford to be members. And for Christmas, my mom bought me a series of 10 lessons from Lee Martin, the host pro.
Hmm.
My stepfather bought me a set of junior golf clubs. My stepbrothers bought me a little ball returner to work on my putting indoors. And I
And
was
how old
off
were
to
you now,
race.
Bob?
I'm 10 years old.
Okay.
And I would pedal my little bicycle down from the house and with my golf clubs on my shoulder and start my lessons. And I went to the local bookstore and bought my first golf book, How to Play Golf by Sam Snead.
Yep.
And I really didn't know how to start the game, but I had a great passion to want to learn at the age of 10.
That's amazing.
And so Lee Martin, the host pro, started giving me the 10 junior lessons. Unbeknownst to me at the time, returned my mother's check back to her with a letter saying, I don't want you to pay me for lessons anymore. I think we can make a golfer out of your son.
Wow.
One of the greatest gifts anybody's ever given me.
Oh, no doubt. Wow.
And I was down there every single day, and Lee was watching over my swing. By the time I was 13 years old, I was an eight handicap, and Lee took a job in Florida. It was a better job for he and his family, so
Sure.
sadly he left. But in came a new, not the host pro, but an actual golf instructor by the name of Ben Doyle. And Ben Doyle was the first authorized instructor of the golfing machine, protege of Homer Kelly, the author of the system.
Mm,
And Ben and I connected, and we started to work, and Ben took a great passion to me and helped me greatly. And I watched my swing change, but my game improve. And he taught me part of the golfing machine was more about the physics of the game and
sure.
understanding the physics of the game, which ultimately became the base of my impact-based teaching that I developed. But by the time I was 15, I was a scratch handicap and won my first national junior tournament, the Big I in Colorado Springs.
Can I say I hate you for being a
Yeah,
scratch at 15?
yeah.
We'll
And
edit it out. No, we
so,
won't. Go ahead.
um, and then by the time I was 16, I set the new point record in junior golf in Northern California. When I was 17, I broke my own record and I won the California State Junior, the Northern California Junior.
It's crazy.
I skipped a year of high school, went to college at Brigham Young as a 17-year-old.
Oh my.
And I say these kind of things not in essence to brag, but it's part of the story.
It is. No, I'm fascinated by it.
Um,
I am.
yeah. And so when I was 17, I became the youngest first team All-American in golf history and won two college tournaments and played number one for Brigham Young. And we finished fourth in the NCAA that year. We had a very good, strong team. The following year, I won four college tournaments and won the Haskins Trophy, which is the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy in golf. And the following year, my junior year, I won six college tournaments and again won the Haskins
Eh,
Trophy. Became the only two-time winner in history of the Haskins Trophy. Of course, there's two three-time winners, but we don't care about those three-time winners. I'm the only two-time winner.
That's right. That's
And I decided to forego my last year of college golf and I turned pro. The opportunity was ripe
sure.
and
And you're how old now?
I was 19 when I
Okay.
turned pro. Yeah. Actually, I was 20 when I turned pro. I was 19 when I finished my junior year of college. And I'd already been low amateur in the US Open and the Masters and set Masters records and played well in several tour events. And so it was time.
Oh yeah.
And I went on tour. My first full year on tour, I finished 14th on the money list. Um, and my second year on tour, I finished 17th on the money list and won my first PGA Tour event, the Southern Open. My third year, I got off to a little bit of a slow start, and I felt like my game wasn't improving. And so I got talked into going to work with some of the so-called best teachers of the game. Went to four different teachers, spent
Mm,
quite a bit of time with them. And they all told me completely different things.
yeah.
But the one thing that was in common is they all told me my swing was terrible and I needed to change it. And so I went through the process. I listened to one of them and I started going through the process of changing my setup, my backswing, my downswing, my finish, my tempo. Everything was different about my golf swing. And I became a good solid three handicap.
Yeah, there you go.
And Um,
The
and
boiled ham had turned.
yeah, I was a spoiled ham.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we're gonna get along great.
And so obviously my career on the PGA Tour started to go downhill pretty quickly. And I managed to stay out on the tour for till I was 31 and 32 actually. And then I got my first gig opportunity to go into television.
Hmm.
And that there's a whole story there, but we won't get into that. So I
Well, I was
was,
glad you told me that the other day, just because of our connection through television. You mentioned our mutual friend Donna Orender and MG, so that was kind of a cool connection. But keep going.
yeah, yeah. So I worked with CBS Sports for 29 years as a
No
golf
way. Oh my
announcer. So I had a nice long journey there. And but when I turned 50, I well, let me backtrack. So when I was um 40, 47, let me even backtrack. When I was 45, and I was had been a golf broadcaster now for like 13, 14
God. Sure.
years. And I had studied the best players in the game, and CBS had developed something called the BizHub Swing Vision camera, which
Yeah,
they
I kind
won
of
an Emmy
remember.
for,
Yeah.
which had the ability to focus on the very details of the golf swing and even impact, and shooting cameras that could shoot 70,000 frames a second in high definition. It was phenomenal with no blur, no distortion.
Mm.
Really amazing stuff. So after telecast, got very interested in the best players of the game and watching the best players of the game. And they had such a array of different golf swings, and all the lessons I had talked and all the or I had taken and all the different instructors I had talked to, they all had different concepts of what is the best style of swing, and they wanted to mold every player into their concept of the best style of swing. Yet I'm looking at these guys, and I'm looking at Jim Furyk, and my cohort David Faraday once described Furyk's swing as looking like an octopus in a phone booth. And there were Nicholas had the flying right elbow, and Arnold Palmer had the whirly bird finish, and Lee Trevino took it way outside, was laid off, had a big loop to his swing, and all these great golfers, Gary Player stepped through the ball, and all these great players had such different golf swings. And I remember reading an article, Dick Altman, who was a lead writer for Golf Digest years ago, and he wrote an article entitled about Lee Trevino seven wrongs make a miraculous right. And this is kind of the concept of how people thought about the golf swing. It's like, oh, this guy does everything wrong. So just don't do the things that he does, even though he might be one of the top three ball strikers in the history of the game. Don't try to copy what he does. And then people were talking about Mo Norman and all these different weird swings. So, and then I'm watching this and I'm going, well, what makes these swings, what makes these guys so good? It's not their swing, their style of swing, because they're all so different. And then I led me down a study of impact. And with the help of the BizHub Swing Vision camera, I was able to really identify and nail down all their impacts were virtually the same, though their
Sure.
styles and ways of getting there were so different.
At the moment of truth, you got to hit the ball square, correct?
Well, that's one of them. One of the things, you got to hit the ball in the middle of the club face, but there were more elements to that.
Of
There was
course.
elements of how they positioned their lead wrist and the amount of forward shaft lean that they had and the angle of attack, their swing bottom, where it bottomed out, and the path of their swing, and how they use their body to deliver the club into the ball. So all these things were common denominators. And I decided, well, first of all, I'd come up with this, and one of the ahas I had that nobody had ever come up with before, and that is, where's the swing bottom supposed to be in the swing? No golf book had ever talked about it. No teacher had ever talked about it. And I had noticed that all of them have their swing bottom 4 inches in front of the ball, all the great players. And I went out and I started testing mine, and mine was only 2 inches.
Hmm.
And I went, hmm. So I started working on ways to implement what it's going to take to get my swing bottom 4 inches. And immediately I started hitting the ball so much better.
Wow.
And I actually went out and played in some tournaments. There were some things like, I qualified for the US Open, had the lead in the first round. I hadn't even touched a club hardly in 2 years. So all
How
of a
old are
sudden,
you now, Bobby? About? I'm sorry to interrupt.
how old am I now?
No, no. When you got this 4 inch, 2 inch sort of
So I was in the
revelation?
process of this in my late 30s,
Okay,
early 40s.
okay,
And when I was 40, I qualified for the US Open and started rebuilding my swing literally in my living room. I didn't go out to practice. I just worked on my swing and where my swing bottom was and getting my path right. And it was the early elements of impact-based instruction. And I'll give you a story. So I hadn't played a tournament in 2 years. I threw my entry in because the U.S. Open was at Pebble Beach, my home
sure.
court. So of course I got to try.
Yes, you do.
And I go out on a windy day in North Carolina in the local qualifier, and I get an alternate spot in the qualifier, which means I'm supposed to show up at the next qualifier. Well, the next qualifier happened to be where we were doing the Kemper Open broadcast with CBS in Washington, D.C. And so I didn't have a chance to play a practice round, but I was up there. So I show up Monday morning as a fourth alternate and say, give it a try. And the
Sure.
range is full of tour players, and I'm under a tree making practice swings and making divots, hitting pine cones. And all of a sudden they call me to the tee. So I haven't, I don't play golf, right? And so I start off, I'm shaky, I'm nervous. I make a lousy bogey on the first hole. Lucky to make a par on the second hole. I make a lousy bogey on the third hole. And I start thinking for a minute, boy, I'm really hitting the ball poorly. I'm hitting poor shots. What's wrong with my impact? And I had developed something called the line drill. And I went off to the side and I drew a line in the grass, which you're allowed to do with a tee.
Yeah.
I put the club an inch and a half behind the line and I started to make some practice swings. And lo and behold, my swing bottom was back to 2 inches in front of the ball instead of four. And so then I said, okay, what did I work on? And I did a couple things. And all of a sudden I got my swing bottom where I needed it to be. And I said, okay, I'm just going to go the rest of the day and
There you
apply
go.
this. Well, I hit this beautiful 4 iron on the next hole about 10 feet and make the putt for birdie. I hit three beautiful shots on the next par five, about 6 feet, and make that for birdie. Barry, I go 11 under par for the rest of the round.
Did I mention I hated you?
Yeah. And I qualify. I mean, you can't make this stuff up,
No,
right?
no, no.
I
It's
was going to
it's
shoot in the
amazing.
80s, and I end up shooting in the 60. I shoot 9 under par for 2 rounds, and I was two over after 3 holes. So, um, and then in the first round of the U.S. Open, I'm 4 under par through 10 holes, and I'm in the lead. And then this unknown guy, I don't know if you ever heard of him. His name is Tiger, and he was behind me, and I had him by 2 shots through 10 holes, but then he nipped me by 27 after that.
Tiger ate some boiled ham.
So the whole idea was in this. I started coaching my son's fifth grade golf team and developed a golf program, helped develop a golf program with some parents in the high school level as well. But
Where were you living then, Bobby?
in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Okay.
yeah, there's a school called St. David's. It's an Episcopal school in North Raleigh, where my kids attended, and convinced the school that they had a golf team, but they'd finished last in the conference every year for 16 straight years. And I convinced them that if they're going to really have a serious golf program, that they need to have a middle school development program, and let's get that going and get these kids so that when they're freshmen in high school, they're ready to go. They can compete. And I started teaching them impact. And I didn't teach them anything else. I didn't teach them about their grip, their setup, their swing positions, none of that. I just said, this is what you got to do at impact, and this is what you got to make happen. Well, lo and behold, in 3 years, they finished third in the state of North Carolina. They won their conference and finished third in the state. just teaching them impact. So I said to myself, I got to write a book about this
Yes,
because,
sir. I don't have it yet, but I want it.
yeah. And so in 2008 or 2007, I wrote, published The Impact Zone, my first book I've ever written, with the help of my longtime friend Andy Brummer. And it took us 2 years to write the book, but we did it and got a publisher and so on and so forth. And the next year, Golf Digest rated it the number one golf instruction book of the year. And then a couple years later, I get a message from the PGA saying that in the top 100 instructors that were nominated in their interviews, they're asked the question, what is the most influential book that they've ever read?
Wow.
And over a third of them said my book was the most influential book they've ever read about their golf instruction. So my wife and I kind of looked at each other and said, we probably have a business model here. And so we started to credential instructors. And then the PGA invited me to be one of their six keynote speakers at their every 2 years they do a coaching summit in Orlando, Florida.
Hmm.
And there are 500 of the top instructors in the world that come to this, and I'm one of the keynote speakers. And then after the all the speakers are done presenting, we divide into places on the driving range, and the 500 attendees can go where they want to spend the next hour with the presenter. Well, over 450 of the 500 attendees came to my place. And I thought, we're onto something here.
Yeah,
This
you
strike,
think?
this is striking a nerve. So,
Wow.
here we are. And then I went on the Champions Tour, and I had some success out there,
You
made some
did.
money.
I mean, I think I read you had significant success there, from a money
Well,
winning anyway.
yeah, I mean, I had seven top five finishes, and I earned more in my sh 5 short years there than I did on my 15 years on the PGA Tour.
Well, that's success. That's
So I had a
success.
little money in the bank, and my wife and I was ready to retire. And I felt this real passion to want to help golf because I found out through this that there's no path. Golf instructors and like club pros, for example, they have no path to become a golf instructor. They have to develop their learning on their own. There's nothing the PGA does to provide them a path to be a director of instruction
Mm,
or to be a full-time professional golf instructor. And so, yeah, they can help people and they can show them a grip and that kind of stuff, but there's so much more to really being
sure.
a good golf instructor. So I started to credential instructors, and now we have, well, there were at the time eight of the 88 master professionals of teaching and coaching with the PGA had been certified with me. So we had more master professionals certified, and then they looked at me and they go, "Well, Bobby, why aren't you a master professional?" And I go, "What's a master professional?
Right,
I'm
right.
a tour player." And they said, call the PGA and become a master professional. So I went through the process. They voted me in as a master professional. So that's my moniker now. I'm the only tour winner in history to be both a PGA Tour winner and a PGA Master
Interesting.
Professional teaching and coaching.
Bobby, how old were you when you became a master professional? I'm just
I
trying to get a
was
timeline here.
50,
Approximately.
53 years old.
Okay.
I did it when I was on the Champions Tour
Got it.
at the same time. And because I knew that was my passion and that's where I was going to go when I retired. And so we opened up shop in Naples, Florida, our indoor studio, and then we became the Golf Academy at the Ritz-Carlton Golf Resort at Tiburon. Then we started a golf academy at the Renaissance Club in Fort Myers. Sadly, we lost the academy at the Ritz-Carlton when Troon Golf came in and basically pilfered my golf instructors and early terminated our contract because we
Hmm.
were the most successful golf instruction program they had ever seen, and they wanted it for themselves.
Sure.
Um, and so it's been a difficult journey, to say the least, in trying to help people because what we've discovered is we're really good at teaching golf, and it's to find a place to teach is really difficult.
Sure.
And the pros don't want us there because we make them look bad.
Yep.
So and they make a little extra money teaching golf. So finding a place to teach is hard. And that's why we still have our indoor studio and why I built Clampett Ranch out here in California, specifically for my students, so that nobody can tell me you can't teach here anymore. Um, so yeah,
I love that. I mean, there's so many. I want to rewind this a little bit only because, for context, you and I obviously could talk for hours.
yeah,
Uh, in fact, as soon as I hang up, I'm going to drive down to Stevenson, to Clampett Ranch and learn some impact. But I can't do it today. But it's all very fascinating, and some of the things that come up to me, in the context of the playground principles. I mean, you're talking about rebounding. You've rebounded in so many ways. You rebounded from a rising junior star to a guy who lost his whatever. You lost your jump
yeah,
shot, you lost your
yeah,
whatever, analogy, and then you've taken it all the way. One of the things to me that is so vital in our world is connection, and connection in so many ways. I say connection with self as oxygen. Your oxygen is, to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong because this is about you, not me. um, is that you've come to realize that what you really, your connection with yourself, is to give back to the game, is to teach what you've learned, and
correct.
that's making you breathe, and you're fighting battles with Troon and whoever the powers that be. We all fight the powers that be to get our journey integrated because that's what you believe.
Right.
That's your connection with yourself. Would you agree with that? I mean, is that how you
100%.
rebounded to this?
100%. It's I love helping people. It's just
Sure.
love. I know I've discovered something that can really help the game. I have had so many instances where students that have taken lessons from every so-called great teacher in the game, and they come to me and they go, "Why haven't I found you before now?"
Right.
I have students that live next door to some of the best known teachers in the game, yet travel across country to come take lessons with me.
Sure.
Um, I teach very differently. Impact-based teaching is a complete different direction of how golf is traditionally taught. Golf is traditionally taught through what we call style-based methods.
Yeah.
One plane, two planes, stack and tilt, a swing. Even the biomechanics uh, instructors are talking about the biomechanical perfect positions and 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 so what's missing is what every great player does, and that's what they created impact and how to get there. And it doesn't matter what your swing looks like. Look at today, we've got the Matt Wolfs, the Bryson DeChambeaus, the Bubba Watsons.
Yeah.
You got some crazy looking golf swings that are some of the best players in the game. Scotty Scheffler's footwork, right? I mean, it's like
No,
everybody.
no, there's no doubt.
And so why is everybody working on trying to create the so-called perfect golf swing and the perfect positions when when that's not necessary? You can learn to play great golf by using your natural tendencies and making them your asset, not your enemy.
It's in so many levels. I mean, I could make analogies to so many other parts of life.
Yeah,
So many other parts of life, right? And it's
there
all
is a
true.
lot of analogies to being in the impact zone in life,
Of
right?
course,
There,
yeah. I mean, again, back
yeah,
to So I just think it's amazing how um, gravity is undefeated, and I don't necessarily mean that in the golf swing, although I could I could kind of put it in there too. But you're I view this as I mean, building the Clampett Ranch is some stewardship to the game, right? You're really going out on a limb and doing this. And I say that in the context of gravity because you are fighting the powers that be, right? And the marketing of the big names. And here you are. I mean, obviously you're a successful guy and you have a great story to tell, but you're still fighting this battle of quote unquote big players, and you're committed to it. So what's
Well,
every day is a tryout in the playground. Let me just start,
it's
these this is your tryout, right? I mean, and
this is my tryout, and
you're
this has been
65 and you gotta
this
you
is
gotta go rebound. You gotta do it. So I admire you. So please just talk about
Michael
what's
Jordan
driving you.
couldn't make his freshman basketball team, right? In high school.
Yeah, but you're
Um,
driven and I love it. So keep going.
and
I'm sorry. I just want you
so
to textualize.
every time I've had a roadblock, I've really looked at it as not playing a victim to it, but rather looking at, can I understand what is the opportunity here? Because golfers are frustrated. We've got 4 million golfers quitting every year in the United States, Barry, and frustration is a big part of it. Golf is probably the worst instructed sport there is. People aren't equipped to give golf lessons,
Sure.
and 70% of people who take golf lessons said they didn't improve or they got worse. And today, you have the least percentage of people taking golf lessons than at any time in history.
Is that right? Wow.
And what they do today is they are golf tip junkies.
Yeah.
They go online and they search YouTube and they get sign up for this guy and they get in this tip and how to cure your slice and how to improve your game and what the secret position is at the top and what the secret move is through the ball and all these different bullshit things that are out there that are trying to market their the golf instruction for these people to go take lessons ultimately, but they
Sure.
don't. And so what I find is students get so frustrated they don't know which way to go. They get all these conflicting and confusing ideas. They get one idea from an email, another idea from a YouTube, another idea from their club pro, and another idea from their buddy that they're playing golf with. And they keep trying new things and nothing works. And so they get so confused and so frustrated and they quit. And I see it over and over again. You think about it, just before COVID, we had lost a third of our golfing population in the United States. We had gone from 32 million golfers to 24 million in a 20-year period, Barry. It had declined every year for 20 straight years. And all the powers that be are like, well, we got to create programs to get more people in the game. What you need to do is you need to get the people that are in the game to stay in the game
Stay in the
because they're all quitting
Yep.
because they're frustrated. And that's what really got me when I found those statistics out. I said to myself, I've got to help these people. I got to help people teach better. I got to help people understand impact. And so we're now at the point, and I've spent 15 years getting it to this point. We
Sure.
just released our six Master Series class, and amateur golfers around the world and even coaches can go to it and get it at courses.impactzonegolf.com. We just released it, and it's the most comprehensive series of how to understand how to improve your impact. And it's a self-help process. And because it gives you a step-by-step way of how to do it.
I'm going to put
And
this, Bobby, in the show notes. So, but it's courses at.
courses.impactzonegolf.com.
Okay.
I'm going to pull it up just so I make sure I'm doing the courses
Because I already
dot.
messed up your email address the other day, so I'm capable of anything.
Yeah. courses.impactzonegolf.com. I mean, it's literally, I just got this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. And that gets you right to the Master Series class, tells you all about it. And um, it's my best work I've ever done. It's
I'm
basically
fascinated by
accumulation.
it. I'm going on seriously. I mean, I love the game. I suck. You probably saw me yesterday at 14 at Poppy Ridge when I was ready to give up. I just don't quit, but but
Good for you.
yeah, I don't. I can't.
You
It's
know, I've had people, Barry, I had one student who came to me on a first time basis and he said, Bobby, he says, I'm contemplating giving up my membership at my club because my friends at the club say my game is so bad they don't even want to play with me anymore.
lovely.
That's sad.
That
It's
is
beyond sad,
that tears my heart.
right?
Seriously.
And most golfers today, most golfers, over 50% of them want a game improvement plan to their game, but they can't find the answer. It's something they don't have at their club, they can't find in their local area. So it's if we're going to help the game, yes, it's great to get more people into the game, but the big answer that nobody's really addressing, the powers that be, is how do we keep the people that are in the game staying in the game
Sure.
because they're dying out.
Customer retention, it's a lot harder to keep a customer. It's harder to get a new customer than keep one. So we got to keep them, and it's such a great game. I mean, um,
I'll share something else with you, Barry.
please,
Little known fact. Okay, get into the details of club management. Golf instruction on the budget sheet of every club, every manager across the board. Golf instruction is the last item on the budget sheet. The only thing that's ever measured about golf instruction is how much income did it directly produce for the club. And so, for example, if they're guys in the shop teaching and they keep 80% and they give 20% back to the club or whatever it is, and the club shows, $8,000 in revenue for the year. That's the only thing they measure. So you're familiar with Club Corp, big management company,
yes,
right?
sir.
I'll call invited. Well, they hired a guy named Ian James, who is South African, who concluded a 5 year study. And in his 5 year study, he concluded that and they did over 400 of invited clubs. Of the 400 clubs that they did, the ones that had high-end golf instruction, that is, they had like a golf academy with trained golf instructors versus those that didn't, that just had club pros teaching. The membership attrition rate at the normal clubs, where just the pros taught, was 12% annually. That's members, 12% of the members would leave the club. The membership attrition rate of those that had a high-end academy where golf instruction was really promoted and pushed
Sure.
had a 1.8%
Yeah.
attrition rate. At most clubs, Barry, that's $1 million benefit to the club and is completely disregarded in the industry across the board. And so they
Hmm.
don't understand that golf instruction is not only a revenue driver because it pushes more spending in the club itself,
Oh yeah.
it helps get more members in, it helps juniors, it gets people in the door. And but it also keeps people
Keep.
there.
I'm about to say you just stole my phrase, but obviously,
So it's a revenue driver, but it's also gets rid of the attrition rate. And it's completely disregarded in the industry. It's only the last item on the budget sheet.
why do you think?
Uh, I think I think it goes back to uh, the temperature and there's this unsaid un um, I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Go
Golf
say it.
golf professionals today are very territorial. They are the pro at their club and they put up a barrier and protect themselves and they don't let anything that's good in. And they want to be the authority and the final word, and it becomes a power play. And they want the easy way. They want the easy money. They don't want to have to go out and learn how to be a good golf instructor and give lessons. They want to be able to take their cell phone, take a video of the person's swing, put a little recording on it, and send it to them, and that's it. Because
Right.
that's easy. That's like you've got cancer and you go to a doctor and he's just going to put a Band-Aid on that wound and say, "Here, you're gone.
You're good. You're good to go.
You're good to go." No, if I've got cancer, I want to go get an MRI. I want the doctor to do some real testing. I want to find what is it that I need to get rid of it, and I want to dig into it, right? So that's how good golf instruction works, is you need technology. You need everything. I'm an ambassador with Foresight. I'm an ambassador with Swing Catalyst. We have some of the best technology in our studio in Florida that there is. And our students love it because we can be objective in our teaching. We can actually show our students whether they're improving or not. The average person who takes a lesson has no idea whether they're getting better or not, and there's nothing to measure.
Right.
It's all subjective, it's opinion based. So this is where we need to go in the game. We need to improve instruction, and that's why I'm literally about a month away from launching the most comprehensive golf instruction program ever launched. And we're going to do it online. It's going to be available to every golf professional in the world. And I'm basically where I, I'm not trying to invade their space now. I'm trying to help them.
I was going to say, I mean, I mean, that again, this comes back to the premise of honestly what I wrote about. Why aren't we expanding as opposed to siloing? Why are, we're resting on our laurels as opposed to everybody trying to get better?
Yeah.
And
And I've got a lot of friends that I've trained and that are some of the best golf instructors in the world, have won incredible awards, and they can't find a place to teach golf because they're not welcome. They're too good.
it's great. I didn't want to script this at all because again, in the playground, you walk up, you show up, you play, and so I just wanted us to kind of go and play whatever. But I am going to ask you. It's on my sheet. I ain't gonna lie. And I want to respect your time. With what you just said, having not easy to find a place to teach the game, and your commitment to teaching the game and expanding the game and making some again, I'm coming down, I'm gonna lock you up, and you're gonna have to help me. But tell me about Clampett Ranch. Tell me, give me I'm going to go out as far as to say I'm not being paid for this anybody, but give me an infomercial for Clampett Ranch and everything it's about because this is your stewardship. This is your oxygen, right? This is legacy in many ways. So would you please tell me about it?
So anybody can go to clampettranch.com and see some of the pictures, but it was
Oh,
my
they're
dream.
gorgeous, by the way. The pictures are
Thank you.
stunning. I missed
Well,
you
when
by a
we
week.
when we bought the property, uh, it was just there in my head. I'm a golf course designer. I've designed a few golf courses, and so I wanted to produce the ultimate training facility for my students because they're not getting this at their clubs. They're not getting good instruction. They're not getting a good facility. They're not getting technology. And so I wanted to produce the ultimate setting. So I built this large green with 6 hole positions, and I started building tees around it. And we can hit everything from 300-yard drives to 30-yard pitch shots and everything in between. And then I started creating some course configurations I have 9 tees that are part of the actual
Yeah, you were
course.
saying this. I can't wait to see it.
And I never thought I built it as a training ground for my students. I never thought that it would be an official golf course, but I called my friends at the Northern California Golf Association one day and I said, "What are the requirements to have an official 18-hole golf course?" And I said, I've got 9 tees and one green with 6 hole positions. And I've got it configured, and I've got a distance of over 3,000 yards for 18 holes. And they did a little research and they said that qualifies.
Wow.
And so the course rater came out and he rated, I've got 3 sets of tees. I've got like a, pro tee, member tee, and then women's or senior tee.
Sure.
And you can go onto your Gin app and type in Clampett Ranch and you'll see the course ratings there. So it's a par 54. They're all par threes, right? The course rating from the what we call the PGA Tour tees, the most difficult tees. The course rating came out at 60.4 with a slope of 132, which I'm doing all the research I can, and there's not a par three course in the world that's even close to this difficult. It is the most difficult par three course in the world. And the precision that's required, and I wanted it hard for a reason because I wanted precision. Golf is a game of precision.
Indeed.
And when you have a big green and not much area, a big area to hit to, there's not much precision needed. But when you have small areas, it's very precise. And then that creates more strategy as well. So in my golf course design, I like implementing some of these things as well. So that came out, and so we're making the claim that it's the most difficult par three course in the world. Prove us differently. And so people can come out and they can play with me on it. We can do groups. They can do their private instruction, group instruction with me, whatever is needed. And I'm also bringing groups out because we have some decent golf courses out here in the Pebble Beach
Yeah, one
area.
or two.
Yeah. So, and I'm a member at 3 great clubs out here too. So, um, we bring some small groups out and go play some golf together and work on our games.
What's an ideal size group for you to bring down? Again, I'm going to really blow out this infomercial. It wasn't intended to be that, but I'm
No,
fascinated by it.
I'd say, probably anything up to like 7 or 8 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, it can be a husband and wife, it could be a family, it could be 2 couples, but it could be all the way up to doing 2 foursomes. And my courses, I can even rotate, so I can get 8 people, two groups, and I just float back and forth between them, and play golf with them. And we can do the same here at my house and play the course with up to 8 people.
It's awesome. It really is. Um,
And we
it,
do
it
stuff like dinners and entertainment and even weddings.
well, I'm married now for 46, 7 years or whatever the hell it is. So it won't. Maybe it'll be for my 50th or something like that.
There you go.
But I just at the risk of seeming patronizing, you know, you've built more than a swing philosophy here. Honestly, you have. And I admire it. Again, back to my mantra, my brass band, as it were. You've built a connection, of course, with yourself, and you're trying to use golf as a connection currency for life and a philosophy for life. And this is to me, and maybe it's because I'm old, probably is because I'm old, but I know, that your story as a 10-year-old and how you connected to the game and look where it's taken you and all the people you've met and now you're coming full circle by taking the platform that gotten you to where you are and trying to share it with everybody. Share the ball to me as a philosophy of, it's a basketball analogy, but you know what it means.
Yeah, totally.
So I admire this, yes, Impact Zone Golf is your whatever platform, but it isn't. It's a life philosophy, and I just admire it greatly. And
I appreciate that. I've got a lot of people in our circle that are pulling for us, that see the need for it, see the vision, want to help out, share the passion.
we have one more now,
And and now we're pooling these resources. None of this would have happened without my wife's assistance. She's
of
just been
course.
amazing through the whole thing. And it's It's a joy. It really is. It's a joy to see people enjoy the game. There's never been a system of teaching that solely focuses on impact. Everything's been style based, and it's the PGA itself has chosen not to go down the road of training their professionals to be a golf instructor. I became a master professional of teaching and coaching with the PGA based on my development of impact-based teaching, not based on courses that I took at the PGA that made me a great teacher, because they aren't any.
Right.
So that was their decision. Personally, I wish they would go down a road of training golf instructors. I would love to partner with them and help them train golf instructors and train their staffs because it is the core of what drives the success of the game. Without good golf instruction, people are frustrated and they quit. And until we address that and face it, we're going to continue to struggle in the golf. COVID was a great blessing to the game of
It
golf,
was, it really was. I
and
talk about that.
it was a jump start, but we haven't fixed the core problem of why we were losing golfers for 20 straight years before that. And until good golf instruction is the answer. But until we change the environment and train our professionals to be good golf instructors, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And the quitting of the game to me is again to go back to we all have our playgrounds, right? But this is a playground, golf, where
Yeah.
you can play for years, right? I mean, and
Yeah.
again, the camaraderie. So beyond, it's great to hit a ball great. Nobody, anyone who's ever struck a golf ball knows that feeling that goes up their arm and gets a visceral, whatever. But um, I think doing it, what you're trying to do, yes, it's golf, but to me, it has exponential emotional attachments to it, right? Because you want to go out and play more. I want to go out and see Bobby again, as opposed to I hate this effing game. So it's got
Well,
this,
and you
yeah.
talk about connection, Barry. Golf is the ultimate connection game.
There's no doubt. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, golf is the most important game that there is in business. More contracts are negotiated on the golf course than anywhere else. And people that are successful in business because they create connection with other people.
No doubt.
Without that connection element, they're never going to be successful in business.
Nope.
And it's recognized in China. When you get an MBA in China, you have to also pass several courses in your efficiency to play golf
Hmm.
to get an MBA. And I would like to see that implemented here in the
No,
US.
that'd be amazing. I have a question as an educator.
Yeah.
As you, I'm going to put you on the spot, I guess. As a golf instructor, is there any part of what you talk about that deals with the etiquette of the game and things of that nature? Because I think that's part of connection too, right? It's like
No question.
if I
Yeah. I
shank
mean,
one into the woods, are you allowed to laugh at me?
well, that's up to your personal relationship with the people you're playing with,
Of
right?
course.
If you got paired together on the first tee for the first time, you don't know the person, and they hit their opening tee shot and shank it by your left knee out of bounds. No, I wouldn't think that laughing at them would be a proper response. But if it's your brother that has beaten you all his life, and he suddenly shanks one and you win the hole, yeah, you laugh at him,
Okay.
definitely.
I mean, don't you think that the etiquette of the game is also the part of the beauty of it?
Oh yeah, yeah, and golf is a game of integrity, more so than any other sport I know
Agreed.
of. There are no officials out there on the PGA Tour that are watching every move you make. There's an if you violate something or you hit a moving ball, how many times you'll see the great golfers call a penalty on themselves when
Sure,
nobody else saw it.
sure.
That doesn't happen in any other
No,
sport.
no, no. Yeah,
And you see all these other sports in soccer, for example, they think it's successful when they fake the referees when they pull something, or even in the NFL, when they pull something that the referees didn't see, they call that success. Um,
well, flopping in basketball is an art, so go ahead.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, it really is an art. So, um, golf is just one of those games that there's so much integrity built into the sport itself, and there's a lot of rules. They're pretty complicated,
they can be, yes.
to be honest with you.
Yes,
But
they can be.
the USGA has actually made some good advancements in the recent years on helping to simplify the rules and also not make them so penal. There's more of an understanding, no harm, no foul. If you didn't have the intent on doing something wrong and
Sure.
something happened, don't disqualify the person. Don't even penalize them two shots. Maybe don't penalize them or penalize them one shot, right? Don't make it such a
Yeah, 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 yeah.
astronomical penalty. Um, and things like, for example, you're on the green, right? And you put your putter behind the ball and the wind blows and moves your ball on the green. That used to be a penalty.
Yeah.
Now it's not. Or you're in a bunker. This almost cost Arnold Palmer the British Open in 1961. You're in a bunker and you're getting ready to hit your bunker shot. You put your feet in there. Of course, you can't ground the club in the bunker, right? The club's above the ground. A wind comes up and moves your ball. That was a penalty back then because you're deemed to have addressed your ball and therefore you were deemed to have caused the ball to move. Well, now they realize you didn't cause the ball to move. The wind moved the ball.
Yeah,
So now
right.
it's a penalty and you move the ball back.
Right.
So, these are good advancements into the game, and it's getting better.
It
But there's
is.
a lot of etiquette that goes on, and that comes with playing the game and being
Yes,
around the game,
yes,
right?
yes,
That's where you learn the etiquette.
yes, yes. That's true. But before I let you go, where do you stand on the ball in the divot in the fairway rule? Because I know they just interviewed Max about that the other day.
Um, well,
It's a slippery slope, right?
you can't have a rule that allows you to move the ball out of a divot, unfortunately. And because then how deep a divot does it, how big does the divot have to be for you to be able to move it? All those kind of things. Because then either you play winter rules in the fairway or you you play the ball down. Those are your two options.
Sure.
There's really no in between.
The
Um,
great
it's
Grantland Rice said, "We are deemed to play the ball as it lies." The great sports writer Grantland Rice
yeah.
in life.
Well, it's like uh, oh, one of the great caddies was who caddied for all kinds of great players, including Greg Norman and Tom Watson. He one time was asked, "What's the difference between caddying for Tom Watson and Greg Norman?" And he said, "Well, take this example. Each of them drives it right down the middle of the fairway, perfect drive, and it ends up in a divot." Greg Norman says, "Can you believe this shit? Look at what happened to me. I'm the unluckiest golfer in the world." Tom Watson turns to his caddy and says, "Hey, watch what I'm going to do with this one."
Yeah,
So it happens to everybody. Anybody who's played the tour has hit a ball down the middle of the fairway and ended up in a divot. It might have cost Payne Stewart the U.S. Open and Olympic Club in '98 on the
yeah,
13th hole, the final round, when he ended up in a divot,
yeah,
made bogey from the middle of the fairway.
yeah.
Um, but it's part of the game,
Part of the
uh,
game. Part of the game.
and you get bad breaks in golf. It just is. And it
Such is life, right, Bobby? I mean, seriously,
well,
such is life.
such is life, totally. And what you do with those, there's a real
Thank you.
higher level of what you do with that ball in the divot and how you go through it, understanding, okay, I got to steepen my angle of attack. I got to change my setup. I'm going to change my strategy on this hole a little bit. And now my goal is to make a par instead of my goal is to make a birdie. I'm now thinking a par is a really good score out of this
Yep,
situation.
yep, yep. Rebound is a chapter in my book, and that's a rebound, right? You rebound, you land it in a divot, figure it out, because
Yeah,
that's life, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
is life. Man, Mr. Boiled Ham, you're a joy. And it's the second time we've ever talked in our lives. And again, I feel like we could go on. I'm gonna find a way to get down there and at least buy you a coffee or something like that. I want to see I want to see Clampett Ranch.
Yeah, we'll have you out and take you on a tour of Clampett Ranch, maybe play a few holes too. So yeah,
I'd love to see that, and I can't thank you enough for contributing to this and so forth. I'll put a bunch of stuff in the notes. You've got a couple of books, and obviously give people a way to reach out to you. And
yeah.
any kind of closing comments or anything at all. I mean, it's a
Well,
joy to speak with you.
there's probably some people out there, Barry, that are would probably describe that they're frustrated with their golf game, and
You think?
they too don't know where to turn to improve their golf game. And if you're willing to invest a little time and a little money, go to my courses.impactzonegolf.com. Go look at my masterclass series. It's a very comprehensive uh, view and understanding of what really matters in improving your golf game. It's a great starting point. I guarantee you it will knock several shots off your game already, regardless of your style of swing. But more than that, it will give you a whole new vision for how you can play better golf without having to redo your golf swing. And it will help you get rid of all of those confusing and conflicting swing theories that have bogged your mind down. And, I just see it all the time. Golfers, I'm going to try this on this one, and I'm going to
Right.
try this on this one, right? And they have no system, and it's like pulling straws, and it's like this. My wife sends me to the grocery store, and she's a great cook, and she sends me to the grocery store with a very specific itemized list of ingredients that she wants to make dinner. And I bring these things home. She puts it together in the kitchen, and it's a wonderful meal. What if she said, just go get whatever you want, and I'll have a pot of boiling water ready for you. So I go down aisle one, and there's Cheerios, and I go down aisle two, and there's Aunt Jemima's maple syrup, and then I go down aisle three, and there's grapefruit juice. Because I love all those things. And we pour it into the pot of boiling water. How's dinner going to taste? So that is exactly the way most people are going about trying to fix their golf game. They're just pulling things off the shelf. They have no idea what they're doing. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just something they heard. And no wonder they're so frustrated.
Beautiful analogy, seriously. There's a Bruce Springsteen song called Mama's Soup Surprise, and you just described the Mama's Soup.
I haven't heard that one. I got to go pull that song up.
Do you know it?
I don't, but
Chicken lips and lizard hips and alligator eyes.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
my little grandson knows every word now, as a matter of fact. Man, thank you so much. I'm wearing green today. The gentleman, how we got connected, it's kind of a long story, but there's a I there's a organization out of Philadelphia called Philadelphia Black Basketball Hall of Fame. It's run by a gentleman named Mo Howard, and he inducted an old coach named Phil Martelli the other day. And Phil read my book and he reached out to me. I sent him some books for the inductees because whatever. And Phil sent me a beautiful note and he said, "Oh, Barry, we never met, blah, 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 but you got to meet a friend of mine, Steve Stefano." And Steve and I got on the phone and it was like, we never met, but we were fast friends.
Yeah,
And of course, Steve is the one who introduced me to you. He
right.
just thinks the world of you, and I know you, him. But anyway, so I'm wearing green. because we're talking golf and green, but this is a Philadelphia Black Basketball Hall of Fame shirt that they put on a Quad Cities event, and I have my only golf hat is my Masters hat. So this is my homage to Mo and to Phil, and of course to you. And I just can't thank you
Love
enough
it.
for your time and all of those things. And I'll
Enjoyed
be
it.
I'll be excited to share this with our mutual friend Donna, and so forth. So thank you very
Awesome.
much, Bob. I really
All right.
appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Barry.
You
Nice to
stay
be with
safe,
you.
please. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be
Bye.
well, man.
You too.